Good morning, everybody. Happy Victory Monday. We need all the coffee this morning. I feel like maybe the Monday after the Super Bowl should be a day like holiday where we all get it off. Kind of like the day after, what am I thinking of? The day after Halloween, it should be a holiday. That or we move the Super Bowl to Saturday. I don't know, but yeah, it makes for an early morning. So happy Monday morning to everybody out there. Congratulations, Kansas City. I wore my Chiefs sweatshirt. I did not wear it all season long. And although I'm not a ginormous Chiefs fan, I am a sports fan and I understand superstition. So yesterday for the game, I did not wear the sweatshirt because I hadn't worn it all season. I figured that would be bad luck. But since it's over and they won, I wore my Chiefs sweatshirt today in celebration. So super excited around here. And I know that a lot of you out there are as well. It was a fun game to watch. I did enjoy that. I am a big sports fan. Just like I'm just NFL football is not my thing. College football is, and baseball. I'm a big Cubs fan. You ready to talk about what's going on in the studio? Let's knock this out. You ready? Preschool classes. So it is week 3 of February. Now, Mondays and Tuesdays classes, you guys are still doing week 2 curriculum because the month started on a Wednesday. So my Monday and Tuesday classes, you're lagging behind just a little bit. So your last week's video, you're still reading the kissing hand and you'll be doing these like awesome full body portrait. They're not really portraits because it's a full body, but that's what we call it. Figures, I guess, where the kids, you can see in the photographs, they lay on the floor and we trace them. And then they get a chance to fill in all the details that make them them. So they color in their clothing, they add hair, they add facial features. We've had people add like superhero characteristics, capes and crowns and all the details, right? Like fingernails. And so it's a very creative project. And because it's so big, it also takes a lot of time in the studio. Not everybody gets to finish or they lose interest before it's done. And that's okay, right? In big projects, we take breaks. And so these will get rolled up and sent home. If your kid came home with a big old piece of paper with themselves traced on it, know that you can continue that activity at home. It's one of those you can go back and revisit over and over and over again and keep adding to it. We like quick sticks for this because it's a type of solid tempera paint stick that covers really, really easily. It covers really, really quickly, and it also dries very, very quickly. So that's a great material to use anytime you got something big that you need to cover. So week 2's, my Monday, Tuesday, you guys will be doing that this week. Week 3 and Thursday and Friday classes, you guys are moving on, and we're going to be reading the book Ain't Gonna Paint No More by Karen Beaumont, which is a classic and one of our favorites. We do it a lot. Actually, I think this summer is the first summer we're not doing this book. We changed all our story times for summer, but otherwise we do this one, all the time in the studio because it's just such a neat story. As you can see, the little kiddo is painting himself. And we will do some body painting like this, with paint and faces and arms and legs. So there will be some mess. Wear some old clothes. It's all washable. We will also do portraits of ourselves. We took pictures in the classes. We'll have those printed and the kids will get to make art with their photograph as a base, which is super fun. And that'll wrap up our portrait figure month for preschool. So we'll be moving on to our March curriculum, which is the idea of surrealism and worlds. And so should be fun with looking at the art of Moreau and Dali. Drawing classes have been working also on portraiture and figure month. And you can see I posted a bunch of pictures, but here's one example of our kids modeling. That will continue this week in week 3. So last week was really focused on getting the armature of the body, the skeletal system, a very simplified version of the skeletal system. Think stick figures. That's what we were trying to getting the right proportions. This week we'll work on getting the clothing in and like the hair and the facial features. So a little bit more details in our figure drawings, and everybody gets to be the model. So that's super fun. My comic and anime classes, they've done just kind of a hodgepodge of fun lessons that don't really fit anywhere else in our curriculum. They've done chibi animals. Last week they did robots. and mecha suits. And then this week they're going to be doing onomatopoeia, or just word art in general, how we incorporate lettering in our artwork, especially in a comic. When you're writing a comic, a lot of times the words are incorporated into the drawings. And so they're going to be working on different types of lettering, block lettering, serif, sans serif, I don't know, bubble lettering, and how to add dimension to our letters. Multimedia classes have been doing their printmaking month. So we're right in the thick of the month, which my favorite part of the month is right in the thick of it, when it's really come in and work. Right? We've already done the lesson. We've already done the practice. It's now time to come in and work. And so the bulk of the class is spent really drilling in and working on the projects. I brought a couple in progress things to give you an idea of where we're at in the process. These are Thursday's classes. And so they are like right at the halfway point. They finished week 2. They're moving on to week 3. My first one is the K1s. And this might be kind of hard to see on camera, but remember, they're doing those ice cream prints and they're using a printing foam. So they did the first week where they just practiced printing and learned the process of printing so that they could understand why they're doing this part, right? Because if I just jump into this and you've never used this material, you don't really understand what you're doing with it. So we started with the end of the project with shapes and pieces that our instructors have made, and now they're making their own stamps. And so this is that printing foam, and I'm going to hold it up to the camera. You can kind of see they've started to this artist has started to put their shapes on the foam. So right here is a cone shape, and I can run my finger over it, and you can see that they've used a pencil to add those ridging and dimensions so that it prints with that pattern on it. It's hard to show. This one right here has all the sprinkles kind of on it, kind of ice cream shapes. These will get cut out. So that'll be, once they have all their shapes drawn on their foam piece, they'll use scissors and they're going to cut all of these stamps out so that we can print them individually with different colors. So that'll be week 3, is getting this done. This looks like this person is probably about done, unless they didn't like one of these pieces, and then they have all this area here to make alternatives. And then they will cut them out and start printing in week 3. Yay. All right, my not middle school, 4th and 5th graders have been working on collagraphs. So it's a different type of print. Instead of using a foam and carving into it with a pencil, where we remove layers in order to get highs and lows in our stamp, they're building a collagraph. And so they are adding layers on top. So the base is a manila folder, and they have been cutting out and adding. So like this layer here that is I think probably the background of their skyline and buildings, I can run my fingers over it and feel that that is glued down. So the sky is the lowest part. And I love that they've got all these square graphic kind of geometric stars in the sky. Like, oh, what a great solution from this artist. And so they've got their stars. I can run my fingers over and feel that those are higher than the flat sky. Same with the moon. And then there will probably still be another layer of buildings on top of that. And by creating these very subtle differences in elevation, when we print it, that will show up. So again, they spent the first week printing collagraphs that we made as instructors so that they could understand why they're doing this step. So now they're building their own collagraph. We'll print those. In week 3, they'll finish this and print it. That's the goal. They're going to print in black ink on gray cardstock, which makes a really beautiful night sky. And then we'll be adding their details to it using printing foam, actually. And then my last one is my middle school, high schoolers, and they are carving. So we have 2 people who are carving, right? The K1 second thirds homeschool, and then my middle school, high school are carving to make their block. And then 1 person that's adding in the collagraph. But either way, it makes a like a substrate that we can block print. So they're using this soft cut kind of lino alternative and some carving tools to carve away. These are sharp tools to carve away into their stamp surface. So we're really proud of them. We haven't gone through like hardly any Band-Aids, knock on wood. Why am I out of focus? Well, I'm going to hold this up close so that you can see it. Hopefully it'll focus on it. and you see all the great detailing in the side of the mountain, right? As we remove and give texture and graphics and lines. So a lot of great stuff happening in our middle school, high school. They're having a great time with these. They will finish carving this week and start printing. Just because you print doesn't mean you're done, because you might roll ink over this, press a print into it, and realize, oh, I gotta carve a little bit more, or wow, that's too much negative space or too much positive space. How do I create that balance between light and dark? And so they might still carve after they've printed one. It might take like print, carve until they get their finished one. So hopefully they get to printing here in week 3, just so they can see where they're at, and then finish their carving and pull a final print in week 4. That's our multimedia classes. I love printmaking month, you guys. It's so much fun. All right, couple of housekeeping notes, and then I will let you guys move on with your Monday. Inclement weather policy. Just a reminder, we had like a surprise snowstorm on Thursday. I had no idea that was going to happen. I felt really good that there were a lot of people that were in the same boat. Otherwise, I would have posted this or mentioned it in last week's video. But just a reminder, we do not follow school closings. So typically we are here. There have been, prior to COVID, there were no ever winter closings. I think we've closed once for weather, and it was like since then, and it was a Wednesday night makeup. So generally speaking, we're going to be here. If for some reason we can't make it, the place to find that information is going to be Twitter, because it's super fast for me to just post to Twitter, in our private Facebook group. I also usually post on Instagram stories, but that's just because, I mean, it's there. But definitely go to Twitter. That's be the fastest. We will send emails if we're closing, but it might take, it'll be within the hour of the Twitter posting, but it's not the fastest way for us to get information out, because I got to log into our CRM and email the right people. But just so you know, that's where you go and you find if we're closed. If you can't make it because you drive from like out of town, that's all right. That's why there are makeups. So if everybody's got a different drive in, and we want you to make the right decision for your family. So if you can't make it, there are makeups available for you. Don't risk your life to come to art class. It's not worth it. Some of us live right down the street and can just like roll down the hill, and we're here at the studio. So and so we're open for those people. But if you can't make it, do a makeup. Otherwise, we'll see you for class. We have an egg decorating Easter workshop that's going live on the site tomorrow. Right? Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. That's what my slideshow, by the way, was about. Like, my graphics are all Valentine's Day inspired. If I wasn't superstitious, I probably would have done a Chiefs one, but I make these usually the week before with all the graphics and things. So I didn't want to do that. Didn't want to jinx it. So that's Valentine's Day inspired. But there's an egg decorating workshop, nothing to do with Valentine's. That's just when it launches is on Valentine's Day. So that will go live tomorrow on the site. There's also, for anyone who subscribes to the emails about like special event classes, you'll get an email. So, and I think there's a Facebook post later in the week. But if you're interested in coming and decorating eggs with us, it's a Saturday morning, April 1st workshop. You bring your eggs and we have all the fun stations. So that way you leave with decorated eggs and the mess stays here. So if you're that kind of parent that's like, I want my kid to decorate eggs, but I don't want it at my house, come to my house. And then the last note, we've had a lot of questions on summer junior staff, which I love. I adore my teens, and they are a huge help here in the studio. So these are Orange Easel students. You have to be an Orange Easel student. We don't open this up to just anybody. You have to be an Orange Easel student, so you are familiar with the staff, you are familiar with the building, you are familiar with the curriculum. You've taken classes here, so when I say it's this project, you probably have an idea of what we're doing. So you have to be an Orange Easel student, and then you can come and help with our summer camps. We do have staff that help during the school year as well, but the questions I've been getting have been about summer. So our summer application process goes from April 1st to April 15th. And you can find that information on the website. I'll have it linked in the video, like when I email this video out to all of you guys, I'll have that link in there so you can check it out and learn a little bit more. But it's a really great, like, first time work experience for the teens. We go through an application process. We go through an interview process. They get a job like offer email. They accept it. There's job training. So hopefully they get a really great experience out of this as well. And they learn what it is to be in a workplace from people who really love them. And they also learn how a workplace should treat them from people who really love them. So anyways, if anyone who's interested in being part of our summer junior staff, that is coming soon. So just hang tight on that. We do that in April. Sound good? All right. And then that's it. Those are all my notes. I was thinking when I was doing this video, I was like, oh, there was one more thing I was going to tell people in housekeeping. Because the Chiefs won, I know that the schools are closing on Wednesdays. At least some of them have. North Kansas City and Kansas City have announced. My daughter tells me that Liberty told them last week that they're going to be off. I don't know if that's actually true. I'd be surprised if they're not. So for the schools that close on Wednesday because of the parade, we're probably still going to be here. I know we have a field trip scheduled that has already rescheduled, but I don't think it'll affect our Wednesday makeups. But if it affects anything that you're doing, just let me know and we'll bump your makeup to whatever. So it's not a big deal. We're flexible and easy. So, all right, that's all I have for everybody. I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day week and Chiefs victory week. And yeah, we'll chat with you guys next week. Have a good one, everybody.